The others are saying to the children, forget it. Questions are a burden, and answers a prison for oneself. Let us take control. Stop thinking. It's too much of a bother. We'll take care of you. So the experts are saying what is at stake is nothing less than the next generation, particularly males who in growing up are especially vulnerable to such disruptive forces as the devastating effects of divorce, poverty, and unemployment. The status of American children and families is as desperate as ever. We are depriving millions of children of their competence and moral character. Look at just the terminology there. We are depriving millions of children of their...
And every last bit of that applies, in my opinion, more to the so-called African American than any other people in North America.
competence and moral character. Not they, but we. Esquire magazine said kids won't even find out how much their values have been perverted until they hit the high school. And Douglas Rushkoff says we have come to expect hidden messages in our kids' television. But this story of manipulation goes way back and has occult roots. Anyone who's done their homework knows that one of the groups that operate behind secret societies, it was the Fabian Society from Oxford University. It was founded by Sidney West, who again is very happy to tell you what they're doing. He says to play on those millions of minds, to watch them slowly respond to an unseen stimulus, to guide their aspirations without their knowledge. All this, whether in high capacities or in humble, is a big and endless game of chess with ever extraordinary excitement.
So you hear that when you tell your child, hey, shut up, go away, go turn on some TV, and they go turn on Cartoon Network or they go turn on Disney, you know what I'm saying? They turn on these kids shows. They're turning on their programming. And for these people, it's a big game of chess. It's let's move this here to see how you respond. Let's see how you counteract. And it's like we haven't even moved a single piece on our chessboard. They've moved their palms, their crooks, their bishops, their all of it. They've had them all moving, and we've just sat there as they knock down more and more of us. Well, it's because we didn't know the game. We didn't know the game that they were playing. We don't even know. We're still discovering who our enemies are. They've always been here. They've been here from times of the Pharaoh. They haven't changed. Their bloodline's still the same. They're still here. We, being captured, lost all of our information. We, being the prisoners of war, lost all the information.
Well, we got them. They're called the media, but they've been around longer than television, because the word, in fact, if you study it, goes back to Medes and to a place in the Middle East, not far from where Libya is now, called Media. And in Media were the sorcerers and the astrologers, not necessarily negative people, but a tribe, a very adept cult from the ancient world who specialized.
And that's what I'm talking about, because go back or if you know the Old Testament like we should, you're gonna know that we had problems with the Medes and the Persians. We were enslaved while the Medes and the Persians were captured by what? Babylon? Right? We've got a whole history dealing with these people. Dealing with the Medes, the Persians, the Babylonians. They're not all one and the same, but they all have had their hand at affecting us and infecting us. And they're still doing it. So somebody please stand up and tell me that the Bible's not real, that it's just a book full of stories. Because when I see you, we're going to have a talk.
In the use of talismans, amulets, mantras, and sorcery. And the kings of the world knew that if battle hadn't worked, or if legal means hadn't worked to get rid of an enemy, or you didn't want to be known that you were getting rid of your enemy, you simply called on the Medes. And you bring the representative of the media in to your court, and he'll take care of the problem, because he's going to put the spell on your enemy, the hex, because they know how to do it. And that's where we get the word Mediterranean, mediation, meditation, and medication, the medics. Study this alone, and a whole interesting subject will open itself up. Because we still have, you see, the sorcerers and the voodoo and the witch doctrine. We still have it, only it's now the techno-shamanism. It's the silicon sorcerers. It's the ivory tower witch doctors. And they're still very busy at what they're doing up on Madison Avenue and behind the other great corporate giants. who are only too happy to tell you what to think. Not how to think, but what to think.
I mean, and you got to throw in like these societies like the Skull and Bones. They write our history books and tell us where we came from, who we are. So that then manipulates what to think and how to think. They don't want us being individuals like we are starting to become now, where we each individually think on our own. We formulate our own thoughts. What they want is that group mentality. They want us all to say, "Oh, if you're white, then all of you are devils." We don't want to let me use this example, right? I have a friend, right? She's from the Ukraine. She's here as an exchange student, right? At the at one of the universities I work at, right? She's here as an exchange student, and she's telling me the differences between there and here, which I find just interesting. But she told me, she's noticed that prejudice and racism is rampant here, like really, really bad, compared to over there in the Ukraine. She's like, now in the Ukraine, it does exist, but she's like, when you come here, black folks just think that, she's been a part of here, she's always been here, that she's been a part of the oppression and the racial segregations that we've dealt with. And she finds it amazing. She's like, they won't even give her a chance to know her and know that she's from the Ukraine. And I like to sit back and think about it. A lot of times when I'm watching, some of these Bible camps, it's what they almost do. They don't ask you to look into this stuff too often and come up with your own opinion. They want you to just grasp what they have, and that's the word. That's it. And if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. You're a false teacher. There's false doctrine. Get out of here. But what I want to see our people do, what I want to see you do, is do like Styles by Nina. Do what Arthur Scott. Fire, man. I love that brother. I love that brother's work. I really do. I really do, man. He finds stuff that I sit back and just say, wow, what am I doing with my time, man? But we're all different. We all have these different personalities. There's more of us. You all know that. There's King Drop in all of them. All of them. But at the same time, you're not going to find us just agreeing on everything to the point where if you don't agree with it, there's something wrong with you. And that's what I want you to do. Formulate your own opinion, but always keep learning. Always keep learning. Look, one of these tricks that I just laugh at is where they try to tell you that you can't be anything until you go to college and get a college degree, a college education, blah, 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 blah. But when you sit back and think about what they're doing in college, right? They're getting the experiences from the professors, right? Of the field that they want to get into. But when it comes down to it, all they tell them to do is read. Read books, all right? Or read things that they describe on websites. If you want to have the knowledge that they are going and paying 70 grand a year for, I'm sorry, not a year, but over 4 years for an education, you can get that for free. All you got to do is open up books and just keep reading and write down these notes. What they're doing, you can do it and never have to pay a dime. You just use your time just like they are. Bypass all that. Read. Educate yourself and definitely educate your children. Because they go into these schools and they're getting taught these lies and it's going to destroy them. Educate them first.
Ursula Franklin, she says, I picture the reality in which we live in terms of military occupation. We are occupied in the way that the French and the Norwegians were occupied by the Nazis during World War II, but this time by an army of marketeers. We have to reclaim our country from those who occupy it on behalf of their global masters. Interesting terms there, interesting phraseology. Well, these individuals, they do go back a long way. And they have understood completely your psyche. They've had generations, centuries to study it. Their type of sorcery involves different kinds of techniques, but it's still the same effect. Telehypnosis, metacontrast, hemisync, synesthesia, embedding. New names, new terms, but for a very old, well-known practice. To get you into groupthink, into subservience. To get you to embody dialectical divisions of which there is no end in our society. To fashion your allegiances for you. To implant associations that your mind might not normally associate. to purvey escapism, rampant escapism, and projection of fantasy into reality.